Okay. Wow. All right. Good morning, Corey. So good to see you. Good morning, Sean. Good morning, Melanie. Oh, welcome. It's your first time to the KR Daily Transmission. Welcome. I am just kind of fiddling with the computer because, yeah, I just trying to get it set up the way it needs to be set up. All right. All right. Got the chat up. Hi, y'all. How you doing? I'm a little tired today. I'm going to be honest with you. I was up kind of late last night. I went and worked out, and then we needed some marketing done for our upcoming Paris event. And as many of you know, I used to work as a professional designer, graphic designer, and so I decided to take the helm on that project and start working on it last night. And that it actually felt really good to, I have some wonderful team angels that help me with design work. And I'm so grateful to actually have that kind of support. But it was fun to take a moment and do the creative direction for the marketing last night. But I was up really late working on it. And I was thinking about what I wanted to share today. We're going to be sending out that announcement today, by the way, how you can get your tickets for Paris and how you can be there live with us on June 15th. Bonjour, so good to see you. So yeah, today's going to be a bit shorter because I'm just really feeling how much work we've been doing getting ready for our leadership conference in Austin that's starting on May 2nd, and also last minute production of our event in Paris on June 15th. So we got a lot going on. and one of the things that we're talking about leadership all month long. One of the things I'd like to share about the Sophia Dragons and about leadership is there's going to be moments where your leadership is going to ask you to get involved in your creation in unexpected ways. So for example, I wasn't expecting to be doing design work last night, but as I said yes to the inner calling, because I felt that it would be a joy, and it felt like, yeah, this is the thing. This is actually mine to do. This event is extremely personal to me in the sense that I'm so excited about it to be back in Paris after not being able to be in Paris for 2 years. And I was like, yeah, this is totally appropriate for me to feel into where this creative direction wants to go. And in your leadership, you're going to find that your soul calls you to explore wearing different hats or trying different talents, or unexpected moments where you're being called into action. And that's simply a part of genuine leadership. And I think a lot of people assume that if you reach a certain point in leadership, or as a business owner, that those moments don't arise, and they do. And when we embrace the creative calling, the unexpected creative callings that arise, instead of resist them, really powerful things can unfold for you and for what's important to you. So the Sophia Dragons are exceptional guides for that, as they are sovereign birthers, sovereign creators, and they're here to initiate us in our sovereign creatorhood. And I'm so glad that we had connected with the Sophia Dragons yesterday, received their blessings all week long. Melanie is writing in the chat, creation came up big for me yesterday. She's writing, and I was stuck in my business and I was told I was here to create something new and to stop trying to fit in a box. That is absolutely the deal right there, Melanie. It's like the Sophia Dragon's mantras that you can't stick a dragon in a shoebox. It's like everyone that's connected to the Sophia Code, we all have like a dragon-sized soul or spirit, right? It's just like, that's why we talk so much about the dragons. And you came here with an entirely unique mission to you. And discovering that you don't have to be like everyone else is a really big step in owning your sovereign empowerment. And part of reclaiming how unique you are and embodying how unique you are is creating what represents you, being willing to create what represents your uniqueness in the world, whether it's through your branding or your wardrobe or your offerings. And we talk a lot about it in the Stargate 2 curriculum, which is my curriculum for spiritual leadership, or really any kind of leadership. And how there's this creatrix, within you that is constantly in connection with the source of all of creation. Like your higher self is always in communion with the source, and the source is always creating. It's never not creating. It is perpetual creation, eternal and perpetual creation. And so when you are called into your leadership, you're called into 3 archetypes that are all interdependent and work together. Again, this is Stargate 2 curriculum material. It's the teacher, the healer, and the creatrix or creator. Creatrix being the feminine form of the word creator. So this is where we get initiated by the Sophia Dragons. This is where they help guide us into those vulnerable spaces where, we may feel like, oh, if I really express who I am, like this is going to be too unique for the world. Like it won't be successful. The truth is, like, the more unique you are and the more relevant you are, that is where your success lies. It's not by trying to be somebody else. It might be similar to what someone else is doing, but you really need to do it in your own soul's flavor, right? And so that's what the dragons like really help us stay in our center line with. It's just really important to understand that these Sophia dragons are here to mentor us beyond our greatest fears and our greatest resistances, like, because our fears and our resistances are dragon size. But our soul is like a Sophia dragon, right? It's bigger than even a dragon sized fear. It helps us it helps us receive a mirror of just how big this inner work is that we're really doing when we step up to lead and be seen in our gifts and talents and show up and co-create with others. So I just happy to share a little bit about that this morning. And I think the final point that I want to share this morning about leadership is, and I find like a lot of light workers have some sort of fantasy that someone is going to do something for you, for your divine purpose to thrive. And the truth is, you have to say yes to you. You have to take the actions that are going to allow you to unfurl your wings and step into your divine purpose. No one says that you have to recreate a wheel that already works for you. If there's like, like we have Sophia Circle leaders that are killing it out there, like, oh my God, changing lives worldwide. Like they didn't channel the Sophia Code or the certification program, but they've stepped into it. And by the way, if you're a Sophia Circle leader, feel free to share in the chat your name, where you're from. If you're offering Sophia Circle journeys anytime soon, like we love promoting our Sophia Circle leaders. So it's like, this is a perfect example of when somebody discovers a blueprint that is supplemental to their offering. And in the case of Sophia Circle leadership, it's like, it expands our offering. Or they might come into, Sophia Circle leadership and be like, oh my God, this is a part of my divine purpose. I am in alignment with the Sophia Dragon Tribe and the mission of the Sophia Code. And it's like, it could be the same thing with like some other form of leadership or healing or teaching a modality. You don't have to invent the wheel to embrace it and to embody it and to step forward in your divine purpose. For some leaders, it is about creating something totally new, or, birthing something completely new that also co-creates and works with things that they're already trained in or certified in, or already intuitively offering, just through volunteer work. So the point of leadership is to serve, but we cannot serve and be seen unless we take action. I've got this picture that I took of Joan of Arc on my altar up here, one of my favorite statues of Joan. There are many statues of Joan in France, of course, and that is literally my favorite one. It's in Paris. I can't wait to go back and pray there again in that gorgeous cathedral. Joan was constantly taking a divinely guided action based on the visions, the messages that she was receiving. And there's a lot to be said about not waiting around for someone to wave the magic wand and give you permission to step into your purpose and to explore your leadership or to expand your leadership. And by the way, if you've been leading for a long time and you think like, ho hum, you've seen it all, that's when you know that your next level of growth is calling to you, because there is literally no resting place. There's no place to plateau in leadership. And if you think you've hit that plateau, it means that you're coming up against the edges of your next growth level that's probably scaring you. So it's easier to say like, yeah, I'm capped out at what I want to do or where I want to go with it. It's like there's no end to how your divine purpose and your leadership can evolve you like a Sophia dragon, can evolve you like a holy seraphim on fire, being a part of birthing that creation, all of creation. Ashley is writing in, I feel that too, overwhelmed in parenting. So I want to really speak to that as well. I want to say that the parents of this world are leaders with their children and with their families. And what happens in the day-to-day reality of parenting children is literally extraordinary. The sacrifices that are made, the compassion that has to stretch, the articulation, the communication, the patience, the presence that is required to be a parent to even one child, not just multiple children, is literally soul expanding in every direction simultaneously. I also want to say that I really want to encourage those parents that know you have a very powerful offering and divine purpose calling to be very careful of making sure that you are staying true to other aspects of your life, even if you just work a little bit at a time, excuse me, a little bit incrementally, one step at a time on professionally developing your divine purpose and your own leadership, your career, because eventually those children grow up and eventually that purpose is going to be back in your face, asking you to serve on a whole new level. And so being a parent doesn't actually get us off the hook of what we chose to come and do here as a part of your individual destiny. And being a parent and having children could be a part of what influences your self-realization of what you're here to serve. I mean, so many people's divine purposes involve, creating new forms of education, new forms of spirituality that really address the needs of children and teenagers because they are parents. It is informing them of a need of how to serve younger generations. So it's like your parenting can be deeply informing your divine purpose and your leadership. But remember, your parenting is its own leadership, and this heart's calling could and most likely is something that is individuated from the actual archetypal role that you're playing as a parent. Could be connected, but it is most likely something that's individuated from that parental identity, because our archetype of leadership is always invoking us to discover the truth of our soul's sovereignty, the truth of our unlimited creativity. And I think there's a lot of people that are so afraid of their sovereign divinity, their sovereign creativity, their radiance, their gifts, and their talents. I have seen this for so many years in mentoring clients and communities, where there's sometimes, if there's like an unresolved codependency, the parent will kind of project onto the child or the children that they are the everything and that there's nothing beyond that parenting, which is kind of a way to hide out. But it is a way. It's a way to hide from the fullness of your destiny. Of course, parenting was a part of your destiny, but there's a fullness of destiny that has to be self-actualized. And so for years, when I was still doing private mentor sessions with clients, I no longer offer that, but women would come to me and they'd be like, oh my God, there's this soul, I'm supposed to get pregnant again. It's mind-blowing. I wasn't planning on getting pregnant. And I'd be like, okay, well, let's go into a channeled space and find out from your higher self, like, what is that about? And we would go into a channeled space together. And then what we would find out is that maybe there would be the soul of a baby speaking to them, but maybe not. And either way, the soul or whatever was communicating to them from the other side was always a message that there was something that they needed to birth into this world that was connected to their destiny. And because being a creator, being a creatrix is literally the same sensation as physically becoming pregnant and then going through the process of gestation and then going through the process of birthing something into this world. It's all the same chemicals and hormones, but you're birthing a business, you're birthing a book, you're birthing a community gathering, an event, you're birthing a next level of professional training, you're birthing your vision for maybe a community garden, or you're birthing this vision of like consulting for schools to up level them and their consciousness and how they treat children. It's like, it's not about giving birth to another body, another human, another soul. And a lot of times women come to me and it's after they've, already had one or two children. They're like, I think I need to have another child. I'm like, I think you need to write your book. Like, can we talk about that? Or I think you might need to step up in your career and take it to another level, because I see you going in like this whole other direction. And whenever they hear that, they're like, oh, whoa, I didn't realize that my leadership was calling in that level. And it's like, yes, because you matter too. And so a lot of times what happens with parenting is people almost lose parts of themselves because they're so focused on this, growing this little person that's, the whole, of course, you want them to be safe and have every opportunity and, everything that their hearts could desire, because you love them and they came through you. And oh my God, it's a whole thing. And just because it's a whole thing, just like marriage is a whole thing, it doesn't actually, it's not the fullness of you. This is what the Sophia dragons teach us. The fullness of you is like the divinity of God consciousness pouring through your human body. And you cannot be defined by being married. You can't be defined by being single. You can't be defined by any partnership. You can't be defined by being a parent. Your leadership is the full expression of your soul in this world. And I want to make sure everyone understands, like, I love children. I'm not saying don't have children. What I'm saying is there's often a confusion here when people are so afraid of their leadership or their divine purpose, they start to make it about other people and other things instead of like really identifying, no, even in parenting, it's all about you. Many people become parents because they don't know they have to heal their inner child. And by learning how to love their children, they finally learn how to have compassion and love their own hearts. This is why we're going to be talking about sovereign spiritual leadership versus codependent spiritual leadership, because there are so many tricky ways that the ego structure will have you think that you're leading or fulfilling your purpose or parenting or getting married or being in a relationship for all these reasons that are not really the reasons that you think you're there for. Everything about being in this world is for your self-realization. Everything. Your deepest service is because, if you are committed to leadership at the level that some people are, it's just like, it's because there is this divine force of nature that wants you to discover who you really are through service, through how multidimensional you are, the generosity of your soul, the depth of your compassion, the brilliance of your light, the genius of your creativity. Every time you offer that to others, you get a feedback loop to feel who you really are. I talk about this extensively in Stargate 2 curriculum. Like, your true service is actually selfish. It feels good. You get to know how unlimited you really are. And it gets you right in alignment with source energy flowing through you, which keeps you in alignment with the most beautiful manifestations that can come forward into your life. It's like selfish in a good way, right? It's like identifying like, wow, I am the center of my universe, no matter how many children I have, no matter how many, no matter how long I've been married or how many marriages I've had. It's just like, it's still about you in the center of your heart, in the center of your life, learning how to take responsibility for the sovereign creator within your embodiment. So I think more than any other, all of the Ascended Masters, my God, I would not be the person I am without them. They're without their mentorship. But when I met the Sophia Dragons and I started mentoring with them, one of the things that they taught me about was I had to really start taking responsibility for the sovereign creator that I am. And that anytime I would ever slip into victimhood consciousness, that's just not leadership. Taking responsibility for what is mine to create and what is mine to co-create with the Ascended Masters, to ask for them to support me and to open the doors of my heart or to open the doors of reality, because I'm just, a human here. That's a daily responsibility, no matter what other responsibilities we've taken on with family. It's how are we showing up to that inner calling? And that inner calling is a dragon ride. It's an S curve. It's not a straight line. It does require a lot of active listening to your heart, opening up to your support from your angelic guardians, your spiritual guides, and of course, the Sophia Dragons, the Ascended Masters. And it's from that space that we get to experience the glory of God within us, pouring through us. So I want to thank you for joining me for reflecting with the Sophia Dragons on your sovereign creatorhood, your call to leadership, and identifying that parenting is one aspect of leadership, but you are bigger than any role that you play. And that leadership is the service of your soul being revealed into this world in unexpected and miraculous and extremely comprehensive and whole ways. No big deal. It's been so great to connect with you live. Tomorrow is our Q&A. So if you have questions, feel free to write our team angels at kaia.com. They would love to be able to answer your questions. Stay tuned for that announcement for how you can join us in Paris, which will go out today. And please consider coming to Austin. I've got my cowgirl hat. I'm going to be wearing my cowgirl boots on day 2. And if you are attending Austin, I just want to make an announcement, please come in your cowgirl or your cowboy boots on day 2, because, we're getting into that spiritual rodeo together, and you got to get your hat and your cowgirl boots on. That's just we're going to have so much fun together. Anyways, that's just a little bit of a fun announcement, and we'll see y'all tomorrow for our Q&A. Love you all so much. Have a brilliant and blessed day.